Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching The Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 22, Hostage Crisis, and it's really weird to be watching an episode from Season 1, the finale of Season 1, in the middle of Season 3. It must have been especially weird to anyone watching along when it was first aired. Why they did the story so out of order makes zero sense to me, but yeah, I am intrigued to go back to Season 1 and figure out what was going on. And I'm also very excited. So a reminder that, as always, you can find the unedited version of this reaction and all of my reactions on my Patreon. You get those 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. And let's go. It's so weird that this aired way before the bit where they captured R2 and C-3PO. Oh goodness.
Raise your hands. Slowly.
Son,
Oh.
I wouldn't be so hasty if I were you.
They've got some plan. Oh god. No.
Meditative retreat.
Oh no.
Away together. I know a place far away from
Anakin.
I can't, Annie.
What do you mean you can't?
She's busy too.
It's important.
Uh-huh. More important
Yes.
than the way you feel about me?
I'm afraid yes, Anakin.
More important. Not important. But I
No, but.
Anakin.
There's nothing more important than the way I feel about you.
Yeah, but see, that's...
Anakin.
There's different kinds of important.
This weapon is my life.
No, Anakin, I can't.
You're gonna need that today.
Light-saber is. If all you want to do is make fun of me, I think
Oh.
I should just go.
That's not what I want.
Anakin, you know how much she loves you, but you also know how important her work is to her and how important her work is.
Quick, hide.
The lightsaber!
Before we vote on the enhanced privacy invasion bill.
Right. Privacy invasion bill.
Well, you trusted her with that lightsaber, didn't you? Oh, sweet clone. You were better off to lie there and pretend you were dead. Hostage crisis.
I don't know who you think
Oh, don't be brave. That was foolishly brave.
What are you going to do? It's not like we carry weapons.
She has a lightsaber.
What's going on?
Yeah, Anakin, you could do with that lightsaber. Everyone's a hostage.
It's no use, sir.
He must be annoyed that he can't use the Force in front of people.
Pretty to be a senator.
Anakin, she can handle herself. Oh god. Uh-huh. They're such bad shots. Oh, come on, Anakin. Even without a lightsaber, he is formidable, but it's still stressful because Jedi are so used to their lightsabers that that's their instinct. We could reprogram him to make a great nanny droid.
Hear me, my dear boy. I'm glad you
Creep.
got there and
You have 2 more floors to check.
Lightsabers aren't the only tools in their arsenal. There aren't many places to hide. Thank God I didn't look behind. Good, good, good. Bad, 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 bad. Yes. No. Oh my god.
It doesn't look like he has his lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh god.
I've got it.
What?
For no reason whatsoever.
Lightsaber.
Back to Anakin. The Jedi Knight.
I mean, it's so obvious. Oh.
Hurt you.
Behind you.
Well.
Anakin, you could have... There's a long corridor. Okay, good. Oh, for Christ's sake. Oh, God. Oh, God.
here's the part.
This is why you don't give your lightsabers to anyone, including women you're married to and in love with. Surely someone would have noticed that they can't get in contact with the Senate building. Surely it's the kind of building where there's fairly regular in and out travel and in and out communication. There should be, like, people wondering what's happening. Oh. I suppose people will be aware there's a hostage situation going on, which they can't breach. But normally, like in the real world, there'd be SWAT teams ready to breach. Oh, God. At least, you know, she's also looking after him, so she won't look quite as obvious. Now the SWAT team comes.
To think you could get away with this, bounty hunter.
He's got
Lay
a
down your arms
plan.
quietly.
Please, Annie, wake up.
So people would know that they'd known each other when they were young, so you'd kind of think they just had a bond, rather than they were married.
Stand down.
Hostages are a powerful motivator if you're a good person. What a weird instinct. Oh, I hate that they have to hide it. I think if they'd been able... If he'd been able to tell people about how much he loved her, if he'd been able to tell her that they were in love, that they were together and it was okay, it would have been so much healthier, and people could have helped him be healthy with it, and just annoyed because they had so much potential for happiness.
I found it where you dropped it.
They're so obvious, I love them.
Some dead senators as payback.
Yeah, come on, Annie. Good job. And that is the horrible danger with any kind of hostage transaction, any ransom. There's no guarantee that the people with the hostages will ever give them up.
I do my best.
Well done.
I mean, now that you've blown them up, you could probably be swarmed here. You're still on Coruscant. Like, surely there'd be ships swarming them now because he's blown up his hostages. So his leverage is gone. That's really stupid. He should have been, like, on a ship, ready to, like, go to light speed. What do they call it in this universe? My brain's called it. I call it warp speed. They don't call it warp speed. Go like zooming off. He shouldn't have blown up his hostages already. This was an intense episode. You could definitely see that it was designed to be sort of the finale of season 1. Although I thought season 1's finale, as I watched it, worked really well with the 3-part battle and everything. That was season 1, wasn't it? It was tense. There was a lot of sweet Anakin and Padme stuff, but there was also like all of the sweet anime all of the sweet anime stuff. That should so be their ship name. All of the sweet Padme and Anakin stuff kind of also just highlighted how I know I say this every time it comes up, but the Jedi's thing about attachments being unhealthy and everything, yes, Anakin develops an unhealthy attachment, but that's just because no one ever helped him learn to deal with his feelings. It was like, oh, he shouldn't have strong feelings. So anytime he felt strong grief or loss or fear about someone he loved, he was just dealt with it by himself, and that is never a good idea to leave a teenage boy to do. And it's stressful. And like, even the way kind of, he was like, oh, just come on a holiday with me. He's kind of like a child in that, but like, I understand the impulse of, I can't imagine loving someone that much, being married to them, but only being able to sneak a little handful of time here and there together, always having to come up with an excuse if you're seen together. Like, it's horrible to imagine living like that. But she's a senator in the middle of a war. She has her people. She can't just on a whim go on a holiday. Like, you're meant to be on a meditation retreat. Well, then you should have somehow booked that she was having a trip to go home to do something or other at the same time. That, I mean, it would be obvious. But I understand his impulse, but he needs to he can't always get his way. And also just, her work is important. And I don't think he would ever try and say it wasn't important. Of course not. But it's not the sort of work she could just drop and go on a whim on a holiday. They are very sweet together, and his gesture of giving her his lightsaber was very romantic. It was very sweet. The idea of, you know, this is such a precious thing to me and I'm trusting you with it. That is huge. But it was also very silly because she ended up with it, and, you know, she should have just said to Senator Organa, like, oh, give me 1 second, I just need to turn off that machine over there, or I just need to powder my nose, and he'd have been like, seriously? But I don't know, just said something. So she could have dropped the lightsaber, or, you know, and when they got to the door, been like, oh, my gloves! It's cold! Look, I don't know. But it added to the tension, obviously. Now, I think this did a good job of showing that Anakin is a fantastic fighter, a resourceful fighter, even without his lightsaber. But Jedi are trained so much with their lightsabers, they are such an integral part of their fighting, that it is definitely to their detriment when they don't have their lightsabers. They are almost unstoppable with them. Without them, they can be ganged up on. I think it was a little bit as well of just, he didn't view behind him as a threat because A, the door had been locked, and B, it was just that little dude. What kind of danger could he be? He ran away and hid when Anakin came. And I think knowing Padme was in danger definitely with Anakin would have set his brain, wouldn't have been as rationally considering all of his options. It would have been more like, I've got to do this, Padme's in danger. But they were together, and seeing just how much they love each other kills me, because I know it has a tragic ending, and it kills me because I'm like, all these opportunities where if things were different, if the Jedi weren't so stupid about attachments, if despite that he felt able to trust in Obi-Wan or someone about how he was feeling, they could have talked to each other, it all could have been better. That's how I'm feeling. I did enjoy seeing all of this, and every time I see how close Padme is with Senator Organa, it makes me emotional, because I'm like, she would have been happy to think if anyone was raising her child, it was him. And I think she would have been happy knowing Luke was with the people that were Annie's family, like before he kind of lost his way as well. I think she would have been happy with the idea of where her children were, and knowing that Obi-Wan was watching over them would have also made her happy, although obviously Obi-Wan was very distant from Luke. But I think just every time I see them together, I'm like, she would have been kind of, if anyone who wasn't her was raising her children, anyone who wasn't on her planet, her own family, not that she ever really seems to talk about them or mention them, she would have been happy that it was him, and that makes me emotional. I do think in this kind of situation, Palpatine must have been very frustrated that, like, A, this wasn't part of his plan, because this was just the Hutts doing stuff, that he has all this power and he has to just sit there and act like, oh, I'm a feeble old man, I can't do anything. Obviously, I think had his life ever been directly threatened, he would have just done stuff to get away, but it's interesting to kind of watch that. And I hate the way he is with Anakin. He's so manipulative, and he really does, over the course of the movies and the show, groom Anakin into becoming who he was. He sees straight through to all of Anakin's fears, his loves and everything, and he plays in those every chance he gets, and I hate it. And it just makes me wish more that, like, when Obi-Wan and people like that could also see the same thing in Anakin, that they didn't just kind of be like, oh, his Jedi training will do it, that's fine. They needed to actually do the same thing but kindly and help him, and it's stressful, and I'm sad for Anakin. I know ultimately he will make the noble decision, but his character just could have done so much more good in the meantime. It's stressful. The hostage situation was very masterfully done, up until the point when, while they were still just, you know, obeying the speed limit through Coruscant, he blew up the hostages. Then immediately that shuttle would have been swarmed by clone, they just would have been swarmed and captured. It should have been, as they docked on their ship, they had the conversation that was like, oh, how was prison? Oh, the horrors. Do you want some dead senators? That would have worked. But while they were just merrily, I'll put that off my mind for whenever we next come across them. Given that we've jumped through seasons, we kind of, like, for me, it's following a perfect arc. Last episode, you know, we had the whole, them being horrible to my children, I think it was the last episode, but to R2 and C-3PO, torturing them, getting the information about how to get into the Senate, which they then put into motion, which makes me think the next episode will continue with this, but who knows. This was a really good episode. I finally finished season 1 of the Clone Wars. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction, all my reactions, on my Patreon. You get those 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you so much for watching.